Hey, I'm Jim Search, and welcome to Understanding Upstate, the podcast dedicated to exploring what makes upstate New York such a unique place. Each week, my co-host Rob Adler and I dive into a new upstate topic to better understand what's up upstate. And today, we are talking about the architectural masterpiece known as the Carrier Dome. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about the name, the Carrier Dome, in just a hot second. But before we do that, there's something you need to do, Speedy Freaks, and that is subscribe, rate, review our show, and share that episode with a friend. Share it with a coworker. Bring it up in a meeting. You know what I mean? Just when anyone says, is there any last-minute things that anyone needs to offer?
No. This is at the top of the meeting.
Oh, you want to
bring this up at the
yeah. You want to do it at the top then? Yeah, listen to Rob. Do it at the top of the meeting. Say, is there anything anyone wants to bring up before we get into what we're supposed to talk about today? You say yes. Go listen to Understanding Upstate. It's a great podcast. Okay.
Hey, you know what? Go as far as to even put a few meetings on your colleagues' calendars just to talk about and introduce them to the podcast. I think it'll help warm them up to the harder pitch that happens in the meeting if you do a little groundwork first.
Right. And I can't see anything going wrong with this strategy. This seems real chill. It's a perfect way to get people involved. All right?
Absolutely.
Now, after you do that, put a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts. Let us know your favorite upstate location or person in the review. We're waiting for you. All right? That needs to happen. Rob, how are you feeling today, man? What's going on?
I'm feeling great. I'm very excited to talk about the Carrier Dome. I'm excited to also learn how it got its name.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm someone who grew up in Minnesota in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm a fan of a dome. We used to have our own dome, our own Teflon covered dome called the Metrodome, which is sadly not with us anymore.
Rest in peace.
Indeed. So I was delighted to learn. We had talked about the Carrier Dome before, but I didn't know it had such structural similarities with my old beloved Metrodome. But yeah, I love a dome. Love a dome.
Yeah. It's canals and domes. That's what you're about, and I'm not mad at you for that. And and as we're about to when we get into it, I'll tell you also how much of a significance this does have in upstate New York, as well as my own personal. I have been to this dome several times in my life, and I can tell you it is an upstate majesty. But that being said, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
One thing that's important, friends out here, Speedy Freaks, is this is research compiled from the internet, and I can tell you right now there's some things that I actively do not agree with, but this is what they're telling us. Chiefly, the name of the Carrier Dome, because there are people now saying that this is the JMA Wireless Dome.
What the fuck? Is that a company? JMA Wireless, like a local wireless.
It sounds like a front. It sounds like a fraud.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest, JMA Wireless sounds like how you funnel money from.
It sounds like a fake company from like Grand Theft Auto or something.
Yeah. Or what like the Sopranos would have a shell company called JMA Wireless that they're just committing whatever horrific crime through it.
This does remind me that I lived near a Metro PC that I was 100% certain was a front for some other business. So this all kind of tracks.
Sure. It would break my heart to find out that there was some below the board activity being funneled through my beloved Carrier Dome. So, the JMA Wireless Dome, originally the Carrier Dome from 1980 to 2022, or more recently the JMA Dome, which I'm not doing any of this. Nobody asked me about this at all. I didn't get an email. Nobody.
It's like how they renamed the Sears Tower. It's still the Sears Tower.
Yeah,
even though Sears is still a company, it's still just the Sears Tower.
Man, they better get the fuck out of here with that. Now, this domed stadium is in Syracuse, New York, United States of America. We'll talk about the naming rights nonsense a little bit later. We'll get into that. It's located on the campus of Syracuse University in the University Hill neighborhood. It is home to the Syracuse Orange football, basketball, and lacrosse teams. Okay. In 2006-2007, the women's basketball team began playing home games in the Carrier Dome. Syracuse University announced in April 2022 that Carrier Global Corporation would no longer hold naming rights to the venue.
Well, Carrier Global Corp sounds devious.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to pick, and I don't know if it's, if I have to pick between JMA Wireless and Carrier Global Corp, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be, I got to go Carrier because, again, I grew up at the Carrier Dome. So
I'm looking them up right now. That's right. I looked this up before. They make heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, refrigeration, and fire and security equipment. All right, and they're not even based out of Upstate. They're based out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Who knew? I figured this would be from the Carrier family, that they had some like, like the Wegmans family, like this would be the Carrier family. Mm-hmm. Who knew, right? But yeah,
it looks like they may have had originally had ties to Buffalo via the Buffalo Forge Company.
Okay.
But have since moved. So that's the Upstate connection.
All right. Now I see we're gonna go a little bit more in depth later, so I don't want to give these folks everything about the naming rights fiasco up front. So we'll jump into the history of the Dome. Okay. Now, towards the end of the 70s, Syracuse University was under pressure to improve the football facilities in order to remain a D1 football school. Now, it's important to know that Syracuse football is an institution in upstate New York. So any and all, it's one of the situations where protected at all costs. That is the energy of what upstate New York brings to Syracuse football, right? Now, it's on-campus stadium, Archbold Stadium, opened in 1907 and had not aged well.
Did you say Arch Merrill Stadium?
I mean, if you heard it, yeah. It sounds, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, the stadium could not be expanded, all right? And earlier in the decade, it had been reduced from 40,000 seats to 26,000 due to stricter enforcement fire codes.
That is insane that one rule nearly halved their capacity. How fucking bad was this stadium?
Right.
That's no good.
I wish, I'm sure they're out there, but like, what are pictures of the Archbold Stadium? Yep. What did this like nightmare look like?
It sounds like it just had one door.
Right. Had one gate, there's one entrance, like the seats were like wooden, even though it's an outdoor stadium. It wasn't well thought out, probably.
I guess not.
Now, the university decided to build a new stadium on the site of Archbold, which, appropriately for the region's cold weather, was to have a domed Teflon fiberglass inflatable roof.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Now, to give y'all listeners out there, I mean, obviously those of us who are from upstate know the vibes here, but yes, it gets very cold in Syracuse, New York in the wintertime, so having a fiberglass inflatable roof would serve well. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, This was built, so the Carrier Dome was built in season in 1979 on the original site of where the Orange played football. So Syracuse's home games were then spread across 3 different locations. Giant Stadium in New Jersey, Rich Stadium, now currently the Highmark Stadium, home of the Buffalo Bills, and goddamn Scholenkopf Field, let's call it Scholenkopf Field, home of the Cornell Big Red. So they are everywhere across New York State and New Jersey playing football.
Man.
Now, when it opened in 1980, it was made clear just how loud it was inside, that the night the new stadium's nickname, the Loud House, was coined. Which I feel like perhaps there wasn't like the soundproofing or the foresight of what this was going to be. Perhaps we're seeing that come to roost.
I can tell you the Twins games at the Metrodome when I was a kid were not well attended.
Right.
So
right.
Not that loud, but I did go to one Vikings game, and this is when they had Culpepper and Randy Moss.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
when they were, they haven't been that good since, basically. They almost went to the Super Bowl. A wide left kind of situation, if I'm recalling correctly, similar to Buffalo.
Yep.
Or wide right. I can't remember the direction, but the kick went wide. Well, long story short. But holy shit. The Metrodome was so loud. And I went to a monster truck rally or two there.
Okay.
Ears were ringing for days.
I mean, those trucks get pretty loud on their own accord, right?
They do. They do.
Now, the original inflatable roof, since replaced by a fixed roof, caused the sound produced to echo many times, multiplying the loudness produced inside.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug. It's a feature.
It's a feature, right? It's a caveat. It's a wrinkle to the story.
Yeah.
Now, as I was saying at the top of our show here, I have been here. I've been to this dome on several different occasions. As a kid, gone to some Syracuse Orange games, and it was a spectacle. It really truly was it's almost like the Madison Square Garden of upstate New York, right? Like, this is where major events play. Syracuse is not too far from Binghamton, so it's the place. It was the premier location. I went there as an adult. I had a friend's son played for Syracuse and got us tickets. Wow. I hadn't been in years. I mean, this was like 2009, I think, 2010 maybe. And was still just as impressive as a kid. Like, even though as a kid, everything is a lot bigger because you still have some curiosity about the world. Yep. Still held up. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. It's and it's an institution. It's an absolute institution. The building itself, what it houses, what it represents, I mean, it's enormous. As I've said on many occasions, the entire population of Binghamton can fit in the Carrier Dome.
It's 40,000 seats, right?
Archbold was 40,000. But yeah, I feel like you might be right. It might be a little bit over 40.
It depends on if it's a musical act. A lot of the seating's taken up, but I believe we'll get more into it when we get to the kind of some of the musical acts that have been there. But I believe it's around 40,000. Madison Square Garden is under 20 for reference. Like, this is a huge venue.
Right.
It's big.
It's a big joint. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the dedications, right? There have been 2 dedications in the dome, right? And of course, you can't talk dedications right? Unless you talk about a certain gentleman who is a true and living institution in Syracuse. And that is, of course, in 2002, the basketball court was dedicated to Upstate God Jim Boeheim, the longtime coach of men's basketball. Like when you say Jim Boeheim, you are talking about Syracuse basketball. He is revered as the patron saint of Syracuse. There are parking spots in restaurants specifically reserved for Jim Boeheim. True story. There are restaurants he likes, and he has his own spot. Jim Boeheim. I just want a spot reserved at one restaurant. This guy has multiple. That's he's wild. He's the god, man. Jimmy B. Now, in 2009, the field turf was dedicated to Ernie Davis, the first Black Heisman Trophy winner in 1961. The field now reads Ernie Davis Legends Field between the 45-yard lines on the home side. Davis's number 44 was also placed along that yard line. The more you know. Now, how do you fund this, right? How do you do a bake sale, Rob? How do you right. Do you do a GoFundMe? Do you do a Kickstarter?
Well, you know what? If it's like when I was playing football, we used to go out and sell candy bars and coupon books.
Sure.
And they did something similar, right?
I would think so. If you want to get something like this up and running, I mean, you send the Syracuse Orange football team out into the streets of Syracuse and go, hey, we really want to build a new stadium. Can you buy 5 million candy bars?
Look, if you're riding on the subway and like a player for the Giants or the Jets walked up to you with a candy bar for $10 and like proceeds are going to go to a new stadium, dude, they have a new stadium by this time next week.
In no time, would be easy peasy, taken care of squeezily. Now, we say that in jest, folks. We're going to tell you a little bit about the financing of how the Carrier Dome came to be. As we were saying before, it was constructed in April 1979 and finished September 1980, which is actually a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
If you think
I
about
imagine that. Since the dome is just literally like inflated, it's held up with air pressure.
Right.
I imagine, like, God, you got to get that right. But once that's in place, like, literally half the building is just air
right,
inflating the roof, right? So I imagine that helps speed things up.
That's a fair assessment, Rob. That's a very fair assessment. Now, the total construction cost was $26.85 million, including a $2.75 million naming gift from the Carrier Corporation. Which again,
it's a lot of air conditioners, Jim.
That's a lot
of air conditioners.
That's a lot of HVAC moving a whole lot.
Wait, hold on. Do you think the reason the Carrier Corporation donated money to get their name on the dome is because it was inflated with massive HVAC systems? Is that the through line there?
I think so.
It has to be. It has to be. Like, hey, they're building these crazy new domes. Metrodome, they're not selling the rights. That's the great thing about the Metrodome. It was always the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, just named after a local politician. Maybe vice president at one point. I don't know. I'm going to get notes from other Minnesotans that I'm an idiot for not remembering that, but don't worry about it. Metrodome's isn't for sale, but the Carrier Dome, or what would be the Carrier Dome, it's going to the highest bidder, and it's going to be people who work in air, baby.
Yep, selling that sweet, sweet air. Now, the state of New York provided a $15 million grant in 1978 for the Carrier Dome's construction. Democratic incumbent Governor Hugh Carey was thought to have trouble in his reelection campaign with upstate voters. He visited the site of the old Archbold Stadium and was convinced by local officials and SU administrators on the utility of the dome. Carey won re-election to a second term following the approval of state funds. Smart move, dude. Smart move. Now, we've got the money. We got the money for it. But how do you build it, right? Do you do popsicle sticks? You know what I mean? Like, do you do Legos? Is it an erector set? What does it take to build the Carrier Dome? Well, folks, Huber, Hunt, and Nicholas Incorporated was the general contractor, and Bird Air Structure Incorporated was in charge of the construction of the inflatable roof. The original 220-ton roof was supported by 16 5-foot diameter fans, each capable of generating 95,000 cubic feet of air moving per minute. That's a lot of air. That's a lot. The fans were directed over 1 million cubic feet of air per minute upward towards the dome's 36 main columns under the roof. To avoid the accumulation of snow, which is something to think about, the air heated to 160 degrees Fahrenheit was pumped into the dead air space between the two layers of its roof to melt any snow before it could accumulate. Smart moves. The project involved more than 80 companies and transformed 30,000 cubic yards into the fifth largest domed stadium in the United States at its completion.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, man.
I have a question for you. When you visited the Carrier Dome...
Did I cry? Yes.
Sure. I mean, that I assumed. But did anything particular happen when you would exit the Carrier Dome?
Like, was I a better person for it? You mean, or...
No, because there was a special feature when you left the Metrodome, and I'm curious if it happened when you would leave.
Not that I remember. That's not to say that there isn't something that happens. I can stop being such a cryptic asshole and just tell you. Sure.
So anytime you would leave the Metrodome, this was like already you went to the Metrodome, you had a hot dog.
Sure.
It was a great time. Like, man, Twins tickets were like, Jim, they were cheaper than Brooklyn Cyclones tickets.
Whoa.
which are very cheap. But you could get tickets for like $5-10 day of. Just go to a game, have a great time. Anyway, you're about to exit the dome, and it's pressurized. You're in a pressurized building. So when you would exit the Metrodome, you would whoosh out of the doors. I mean, you would get literally pushed out of the doors. And if you were a smart and fun kid, you like hang your arms out and like, whoa, like just this. It was like you're in a wind tunnel for a couple seconds. Now, but it sounds like this may not have occurred at the Carrier Dome.
It might have, but. Or was just was not as memorable for me.
No, it would be. It would be.
Yeah. No, Jim, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand how this is going to change your life, dude. It's going to change your full life. I mean, this is something worth asking to any speedy freaks out there that have been to the Carrier Dome as of late. Does the air pressure take you on a journey when you leave?
But the roof is different now, right? It's not necessarily like pressurized the same way. So we got to get someone who was back there in the 80s or 90s when they had the original Teflon roof
to
weigh in on this. If you've been in the Carrier Dome recently, I do want to hear from you, but I don't want to hear from you about the whoosh of air.
No, that's pretty clear. You made that you made that very clear, sir. Now, renovations, right? Because you got to keep up. How do you do those renovations? Do you spray some cologne in the air? All right, I'm done. Sure. We'll just tell you what it was, right? We'll tell you the renovations. In May 2018, the university announced a major renovation to the Carrier Dome as a central portion of the larger campus update. The renovation, estimated to cost $118 million, that's with an M, folks, was...
It's like 4 times than the goddamn thing cost in the first place.
This is true, but wait till I tell you the bells and whistles, Rob. Wait till I tell you what's going on here. Was expected to be completed in 2022. The upgrade also included a new scoreboard that would be hung center of the football field and can be moved to be over the basketball court. So we have a movable scoreboard. Incredible.
Okay.
New lighting and sound systems, Wi-Fi improvements, accessibility upgrades, improved restrooms, and a new concession space. Unlike the original air-supported roof, the new roof does not require snow removal during winter storms. The new roof is also expected to make the Dome a more viable venue for major concerts. Which,
yeah, do you remember that quote about how it was so loud?
Yeah.
Not good for acoustics, evidently.
No, probably not. And as our resident sound guy, I feel like you can weigh in on that. Now,
yeah.
What the Speedy Freaks have been wanting to know, right? The naming rights. We've talked about this a little bit, but now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of what the naming rights for the Carrier Dome were and are. The stadium was originally called the Carrier Dome, but in my heart forever, after the Carrier Corporation, who had a manufacturing campus in the area, gave the university $2.75 million naming rights grant. The gift represented the first naming agreement for a college sports stadium and one of the first in all of sports. So this was like,
that's wild.
This was the OG of like the Staples Center and pick a company like the Toyota.com arena or what have you. Now, on May 19th, 2022, a dark day in history, Syracuse University announced the signing of a 10-year naming rights deal of the iconic on-campus stadium with a locally based network equipment manufacturer, JMA Wireless, ending the 42-year deal with Carrier. For the first time since the venue opened its doors in 1980, the stadium had a new name, only the second in its history, the JMA Wireless Dome, or commonly referred to as the JMA Dome. Better get out of here with that bullshit.
I'm not hearing it. In fact, I'm going to go back through the entire episode and edit out any reference to JMA Wireless.
It's
just hear a boo.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Like an obscenity, because it is.
Yep.
It's an absolute fucking obscenity. Now, what are some notable events? Because there have been a few, believe it or not. This is a place of magic and a place of mystery and excitement. Attendance record. Syracuse University men's basketball per game and single season attendance numbers are annual contenders for the top rank in the nation. Lacrosse crowds are not as large, surprise, but the venue allows Syracuse lacrosse teams to play home games throughout the February-May regular season. What a backhanded slap to the lacrosse community. Whatever. The Carrier Dome has seen many a NCAA's basketball's largest crowds. February 1st, 2014, the attendance record for the NCAA men's basketball on-campus game was broken by a few hundred spectators in the Duke-Syracuse ACC matchup. Attendance was announced at 35,446 as Syracuse went on to win 91-89. Close game in dramatic fashion in overtime.
Wow.
This win marked the 21st straight win of the season for the Orange, breaking a school record for the longest unbeaten streak to start a season. Golly. And for the record, I feel like there might be Binghamton's current population is under 35,000.
There you go.
So everybody going to get in there. Okay.
There you go.
So
speaking of pretty amazing streaks, the Carrier Dome has been host to some pretty amazing music acts over the years, particularly at the start of its run in the when did it open? 1980.
1980. Yep.
1980. So we're gonna get a little bit into some of the musical acts that have played the Dome. We of course famously talked about Prince, who did an amazing show there. That was, of course, broadcast to Europe. It was a huge show, but we're going to talk about some others real quick. So who do you think the very first act to play the Carrier Dome was? It was in 81, so it was a little bit after it opened.
The very first. Man, that's a great question. It's not Rick Ross.
No.
Not Taylor Swift. Pink Floyd.
No. Santana. Carlos Santana. It's the first person to play, and allegedly the officials hoped that his anti-pot and anti-drug profile would ward off great clouds of marijuana smoke that floated above rock concerts in the Salt City, which I was not familiar with that being a stance of Santana's, but I did a little digging, and I think he's gone back and forth because he was famously very high on something at Woodstock. But he's like a get high on life kind of guy.
Sure.
Living in the moment. But again, it was hard to find any information to corroborate that. But I mean, this is a published article, so maybe. Anyway. That kicked off a long run of pretty miraculous concerts, and these are all pretty well attended. So for that Santana show, it was April 25th, 1981. This is the very first show, and it held a sold-out crowd of just over 15,000. And a couple quotes. The crowd responded with vigor and enthusiasm to every song, even the younger students. He of course played Black Magic Woman and Evil Ways, and the Dome's acoustics not so great. One reviewer said, "Too much concrete and a half circle shaped area did absolutely nothing to enhance the music." Not great.
That's funny.
Styx then would play just after, which the critics mostly just fucking hated Styx in general. Nothing bad about the Carrier Dome, but evidently not beloved by music critics, which, like, Styx is fine. Leave Styx alone. Like,
sure.
They're fine. They're doing their weird 80s thing. Follow up Styx with Journey. Then we go to Rolling Stones. The Stones have played the Carrier Dome a shit ton. Like,
really?
A lot. Yeah. A bunch of tour stops. Then you got Genesis, Waylon Jennings, Foreigner, The Police, The Grateful Dead, any other band that white people are into in the early 80s. They played the Carrier Dome.
I was going to say, man, this is mighty white, man.
Yeah.
But then you look at, like, I'm looking at the list of, like, the artists that have played, and, shit, man, like Kanye West, fucking.
So when we get more to the current acts again, any major act in the 80s, basically they played the Dome. Billy Joel, Bob Hope and Vanessa Williams did a double bill in 83. Who put Bob Hope? Well, okay, but a couple of questions. One, it was like a university tour. I think they went to, it was like 6 different universities. This is Bob Hope in 83. What college kid in 1983 gives 2 shits about Bob Hope? Or it was the 5th stop on a 7 college tour. And of course, no one liked his dated Vietnam and airline stewardess-centric jokes.
What?
And Vanessa Williams would come in and, like, get everyone singing together. Real weird double bill.
I can just picture him just like, weird. Hey, I was, there's peanuts. You guys interested in peanuts? Oh, fuck me. Fuck me. What do you mean, fuck me? You know what? This is quality material. That's hilarious. Anyway,
so again, up through the 80s, you have all the major acts. Things kind of start to drop off in the 90s, it seems. Like, it's still a lot of the same acts. Bruce Springsteen, The Stones, Pink Floyd, Neil Diamond. Not like, these are still huge acts, but it's not the current, current main artists. More than anything, the newer artists playing the Dome in the 90s are country acts like Garth Brooks.
Well, that would make sense. Like,
yeah.
It is like upstate New York.
Yep. So we get to the early 2000s, and I'm not sure when it started, but at this point it's happening. Syracuse University is doing a thing called a block party. It's for students, different universities kind of have this as a regular yearly event, like a music festival kind of event. And this has brought acts like Snoop Dogg, George Clinton, and the P-Funk All-Stars, which only 2,000 people went to. What the fuck are you doing, Syracuse University students? You couldn't get more than 2,000 people for fucking George Clinton and P-Funk. I mean,
like, funk.
My God,
funk music and college kids are like fucking peas and carrots, man.
Yeah, dude.
You would think, right? Because we are being led astray with that.
Indeed. But yeah, then they had Kanye in 2006, Ciara, Fergie, Sean Kingston. Oh, Ben Folds played. Drake, Nas. Nas played the Carrier Dome through the block party. Yeah. Huh. The Dalai Lama? Dalai Lama did there was a One World concert there, which had a 50-minute talk by the Dalai Lama. I'm looking at a picture currently of him wearing a Syracuse University visor.
That's hilarious. All I can think of is like all of these artists like moving through Syracuse, New York. Like, I mean, yeah. It's not like the most glamorous. I love you, Syracuse, but this, like, what is Nas doing, in Syracuse, right? Like, what hotel is he staying in, right? Like, you taking in the sights and the lights? You going to a dinosaur barbecue?
If they're not taking a detour to hit the goddamn canal, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They're losing out. They're missing out.
Yeah.
I mean, Dinosaur Barbecue did start in Syracuse, so
I thought it was Buffalo, but I don't know why the fuck I'm thinking that.
That is
Foolish.
Syracuse, NY, my man.
I've had many a rib from Dinosaur, and it's good. We've shared. We didn't share ribs, but we shared a meal.
We did.
We didn't share a meal. We shared a table.
We shared a table. Had a meal at Dinosaur Barbecue, located in Brooklyn, New York City.
That's true.
Like, what is 50 Cent doing in Syracuse? Right?
I think he's getting on the bus. I'm being honest. I think he's getting back on the bus. Maybe.
Like he's doing that set and immediately leaving town. Right.
That was in 2015 too. Like that's a little bit past his prime. Not that he's not,
Yo, man, 50's still worldwide, man. Like,
no, that's true. Or I take it back. I don't mean past his prime. I mean past when I would expect him to be playing Syracuse. Like, he doesn't tour a ton anymore, right?
I mean, he's just finished. I follow him on the gram, but he's doing it's called the final leg or final lap journey or whatever. Nice. But he's he's global. To your point of he's playing Syracuse.
Yeah.
This is almost, also you got to think this is 10 years ago, right? You said it was 2015 that he was doing this. So 10 years later, he's around the world. He is worldwide. He's in all across Europe. Just, he's fucking killing it. So it's,
some say into club. I say into Carrier.
You can find me in the Dome. Bottle full of bub. Again, I'm looking at these, I'm looking at the list, man, and it's crazy. And I don't know, you got to think these musicians, these acts, they're in a hotel, they get to town, right? They probably, just hang at a hotel, and then
the Carrier Corporation gave them their complimentary air conditioner.
Sure, they gave Van Halen their air conditioners. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So interesting.
Well, I think we have to close out our Carrier Dome topic, we have a dour.
We're about to send this real left here, folks, because you don't have a majestic building such as a Carrier Dome without a little blood on your hands. All right, this is how this works. Accidents. The Carrier Dome has also been the site of a fatal accident. In 1999, June of 99, worker Brian Bowman was killed when he fell through the dome roof to the bleachers 60 feet below. Holy shit. He had been working with a crew from Bird Air Incorporated to replace the roof. The next month, an electrician named David Paduana fell down a 50-foot shaft while installing cables for a new speaker system. He survived injuries. He survived with injuries to his leg, arm, back, and ribs. I'm very shocked that this is not the Paduana Dome or the Bowman Dome. But who am I to?
Again, I will insert that all throughout the episode.
Sure.
And people understand why.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. And that's what we got, right? That's where we are with the Carrier Dome, the institution in upstate New York. Again, it is the shining light in the 315.
Well, there we go. I mean, just like the Carrier Dome shines a light all across upstate New York, could you shine a light onto some things that our speedy freaks should check out?
Oh my gosh! Listen, well, first before I do that, Rob, I want to say your Segway game today is.
I was worried. That one came to me in a brilliant last second. I was like, "Holy shit! I don't have anything today." I was like, "I got it. I got it."
Pressure makes diamonds, man.
That's true.
So listen, if you are on your way to the Carrier Dome, right? You're driving up Interstate 81. You're on your way to a U2 concert. You're on your way to a Bruce Springsteen concert, Kenny Chesney, Ludacris, whoever you're going to see. And you want some levity, you want some laughs, you want some good times before you step out into the Dome. Well, Jesus Christ, go get Upstate Understandings. It is my very first comedy album, produced by Rob Adler. It's incredible. It's a tour de force. You're going to enjoy it. jimsearch.bandcamp.com. And also, don't forget, folks, the documentary attached to that album is available right now. Understanding Upstate. It is available through YouTube. Go look at it. It gives you all the behind the scenes. It's such a great piece of work, if I have to say so. Rob did an incredible job putting it all together. And now I'm going to say it. I'm going to give you your flowers, man. Fuck that. So yeah, please go check those out. And, of course, jimsearchcomedy.com, and find me at jimsearch on all social medias. Rob, they have watched the doc. They bought a copy of my album. They're living high on the hog. Is there any way they could go higher? Can they go higher? It's
possible.
Okay.
Let's just say you're going to have to suspend your disbelief a little bit for this one, but stay with me. Let's say it's April 28th, 2003. You saw George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars last night, and you were dismayed that only 2,000 people showed up. You're disappointed in your fellow Syracuse University students. You don't know what to do with yourself. Bam! An album just travels back in time and lands in your lap, and it's called New York Sticky by this dude called Rob Adler. And it's in fact an album inspired by funky beats, go-go, disco, it's an album of great jams. And you're going to put it on. It's going to remind you of George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars, because in fact, there is one very specific track based off of some Parliament Funkadelic. I'll let you figure out which one. And you can put it on, you're going to feel great. And you're going to be like, hey, there's hope for the future. Someone in the year 2023 made this crazy great album. And then you're going to remember to go buy it at brooklynfrequency.bandcamp.com. Link in the bio for that as well. Also, there's some of that music featured on the documentary Understanding Upstate. So if you check that out and you like what you hear, go buy the album, because there's more of that type of music on that album.
Now, I do want to say, and the weather's starting to heat up a little bit. I have a copy of Rob's album, right? And great to listen to at the beach. I was listening to it on the beach, baby. Felt great. So
it's good beach music. It's good barbecuing music too. I've put it on before while I'm grilling up Speedies, baby.
That's right. You love to hear that. You love to see it, and you love to hear it.
Well, you know what I also love to see and hear? It's when people subscribe, rate, and review the show. Like Jim said up top, if you can just subscribe, that helps us out. Helps you out, because you're not going to forget to listen to the episodes. Also, throw us a review and a rating in Apple Podcasts. If you give us 5 stars and you throw a review in the notes, mention something that you want us to talk about. Again, I know you're dying for me to talk about the canal more. Jim's not, but I am. And if the fans ask for it, we'll do it. We'll do it. So just throw in your recommendations there, and we just might cover that on a future episode. Speaking about future episodes, we're gonna be talking about next week, Jim?
Well, again, 10 for 10 with these segues. And I hope I can whip up a riddle off the top of my head here as to where we're gonna go. But I can say that Screens of Silver might be in your future for next week.
Very good. Well, I'm really going to trash all that goodwill that I've built with my stellar transitions with today's closing transition. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it.
Jim, we need to carry ourselves on out of here. Oh, no, I didn't even say up in it. Oh, dude, it's so bad. Oh, fuck.
Well,
I fucked up. There you go. There it is.
What a great redemption. Bye. Understanding Upstate is a podcast hosted by Jim Search and Rob Adler, edited by Rob Adler, and music from Regal Monk.